Hello and welcome to Ozchris vs DC Comics for week 5 of October, here with reviews of Batman and the Outsiders Annual number 1, Deceased number 6, and Tales from the Dark Multiverse, The Death of Superman number 1. So starting off with Batman and the Outsiders Annual number 1, written by Brian Hill, art by Max Reynaud, coloring by Louis Guerrero, and the cover by Dexter Soy, Arif Priento, and Riley Rosmo. So, Soul Taker, Katana's sword, contains the soul of a demon, Sumoto, which was sealed in there by Katana's ancestors, and the demon itself is trying to escape. It's torturing Masao, Katana's husband, whose soul is also inside of the sword, to try and get out. So to finish what her ancestors started, Katana needs to die. I mean, literally, she needs to kill herself in order to go into her sword and defeat the demon Sumoto. So that's essentially what happens. She kills herself and has Black Lightning look after her body because Sumoto's followers are going to try and use this to their advantage to bring back their master. So there's two battles going on within this comic. You have Katana against Sumoto, and you have Black Lightning against Sumoto's followers, kind of these shadow demon looking creatures. So story, I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is a great standalone story. Not sure where this would fit in the overall main story that is going on in Batman and the Outsiders. Possibly, I'm going to assume beforehand, because Cassie and Duke and also Batman himself do not appear within this comic. So probably sometime before the actual main series, but who knows, we'll see. But I think by itself, I think it's a really good standalone story. Really, working together the relationship between Katana and Black Lightning, their kind of mutual respect and admiration for one another. I think this story did it really, really well, portrayed that really well. The art and the coloring, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I think the art and coloring here is great. It looks amazing. There's a lot of great parts, especially just this 2-page spread here that just looks so damn good. And the cover, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. The art and the coloring is good, but this cover has nothing to do with going inside, trapped inside the Soul Taker. As I said, Cassie, Duke, and Batman do not appear within this comic. It's Black Lightning and Katana, and they're not trapped within the Soul Taker. Katana's the one that has to go inside of her blade in order to defeat the demon that's sealed inside of it. So, on to Deceased number 6. This is the finale of this of this story. So, written by Tom Taylor, coloring by Trevor Hairsine, with Neil Edwards, coloring by Rain Barreto, and I got the horror cover, which was by Yasmin Putri. The horror cover is homaging Critters. Thank you to I believe it was Josh the Amazing Animator who let me know what it was. I didn't want to look like a fool and not know what it was homaging. But onto the story. What's worse than a speedster getting infected by this anti-life virus? The one who embodies truth, justice, in the American way, the man of hope himself, Superman, has become infected just as everyone is preparing to leave the planet, send the arcs out to find a new home somewhere else. So with kryptonite that Batman left with Damian inside of his suit, and with magic side from Wonder Woman, they create a blade to defeat the infected Superman, but it doesn't go entirely to plan. So as the Arcs prepare to leave, an infected Aquaman sends the Atlanteans to try and stop the Amazon's Arc from lifting off as well. So summoning like a giant kraken with all these dead Atlantean forces to stop them. So there's two battles going on with this one. So the fight to stop an infected Superman and the fight to buy time for the survivors to get onto the arcs and to escape. So in the end, they're not really able to defeat Superman, even as the rest of the Green Lanterns arrive to assist with the situation. The infected Superman instead goes into the sun to drain it so that the system itself would die. No life at all could live within the solar system anymore. But that's essentially what happened. So the Arcs successfully escape. There is mention of a cure, but something bad happens before Cyborg can tell them what the cure is. So overall, with this issue, I give this a 4 out of 5. I think this a good story. It's a good, nice way of ending Deceased. It does leave it open to a possible sequel, but it does kind of nicely wrap up what's going on here. I feel like they didn't really need to mention there was a cure. It's kind of just like a trope with any like zombie infection or whatever. It's like there is a cure, and the majority of the time it's like fake, or they start the cure and they just end it there, just like yeah, we're gonna save the world now, we have this cure, we're not gonna mention exactly what it is, but we have the cure. But even with that, I think it was fine because of how that revelation is handled, and how that could also open up to a potential sequel as well, is done really well. The art and the coloring, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5. I think the art and coloring this is amazing. Just this page of just infected Aquaman summoning a Kraken and dead Atlanteans to fight the Amazons is just amazing. This is absolutely my favorite page of this comic. And the horror variant, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5 as well. Perfectly homages Critters. I definitely knew that from the beginning. I didn't need, I didn't need help. Ignore what I said it before. I didn't need help knowing what this homage was. I obviously knew it was Critters, a film that I've never seen. But art and coloring on it is great. So on to Tales from the Dark Multiverse, that the Death of Superman, written by Jeff Loveness, the art by Brad Walker, coloring by John Cleese, and the cover by Lee Weeks and Brad Anderson. So in one world where the death of Superman, still happened, Superman died, and as a result, Lois became really bitter and angry with the world. So she's angry with all of Superman's allies. She believes that they failed him. They never arrived in time and let him die. And all of this, the heroes, his friends that failed to help him and left him to die, in her opinion. Lex Luthor, who's just pretending to honor Superman, someone that he's always been a foe. And this leads to Lois returning Superman's cape to the Fortress of Solitude, and there she meets the Eradicator, who tried to bring Superman back. In the original continuity way, put him into the regeneration matrix, and he'll come back soon. But he believes he fails, and as the Eradicator is slowly burning up, Lois asks him to fuse with her, give his powers to her to continue Superman's mission, or as the Eradicator says, you wish to carry on his battle, and Lois says, no, I'm going to end it. So she becomes the Eradicator, and she takes on, as she said, I'll do it, Clark, I'll make a better world, one that deserved you. So as she says, referencing to what Superman does. So you stopped bank robbers, I stopped the bank. I end wars and free prisoners. I feed the hungry and punish those who starve them. So she's carrying out truth and justice, but she's losing herself as a person in the meantime. She's going absolute truth and justice. No consequences for the actions that she's doing. Pretty much, it's kind of like if Batman just killed whenever, so Batman without his limits. She's going with a Superman without his limits. So she goes about killing Lex Luthor, killing the Joker. Implied, I think she also killed Batman. Just as, the whole Return of Superman stuff, Cyborg Superman, Steel, Superboy, and all that pop up, and she faces off against primarily Cyborg Superman. Steel and Superboy are not of importance to her. Cyborg Superman is the direct insult to the man that she loved, and she faces off against him. And I will leave it there. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. So, story, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think this is a really good alternate take on Death of Superman, with Lois taking the role of Eradicator instead. It is. I think it's a really good like take. A woman that just lost the man of her life. The love of her life, the man that she wanted to spend the rest of her life with, and being bitter and angry with the entire world that pretty much in her view gave up on him, allowed him to die, and her anger manifesting as the Eradicator, just Superman without any limits. Is portrayed really well. Sorry. The art and coloring, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5. I think the art and coloring here is absolutely great. It's absolutely amazing. I don't think there was a single part where the art looked bad or wasn't utilized to its full extent. And the cover, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. I think it's a good cover. Wish there was a bit more to the background. It's just black, but I think it is a good looking cover. And I will say, I will give a shout out to Wes from Thinking Critical. He tagged me in a post saying how good this is and it's a must read. I originally wasn't going to read this. There was only, of these Tales from the Dark Multiverse, there's only select ones I was going to read. So Nightfall, Infinite Crisis, maybe the Blackest Night one. I wasn't going to bother with like Death of Superman, Judas Contract, or any others that they had. But I'm actually glad that Wes recommended it as, okay, if you think it's good, I'll check it out. I'll trust your opinion on it, and I'm glad I did. I really actually did enjoy this comic, and I'd recommend it as well. Definitely check it out. So that is it for those 3 comics. Thank you all for watching. If you like the video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to follow me on social media, my Instagram and Twitter handles are in the outro, and I will see you all in the next one.